A lot is packed into this eventful 2-hour episode of Telltale's Game of Thrones. It begins with an action-heavy surprise cameo appearance, sets Garrett on a dangerous path,
God's watch over you,
and sees Mira struggle with multiple layers of intrigue. The cycle of abuse by the Whitehills occupying Ironrath is starting to sound like a broken record, though. Across the Narrow Sea, Asher Forrester's scenes force you to decide where your version of this character's priorities lie.
You must return home safely, Asher, and, well, you have a history of putting your faith in women who may not deserve it.
Telltale's done a good job establishing his relationship with Beska, making it hard to forsake her even for family.
I can't have you and Beska scrapping.
Garrett is again pushed to pick sides between his two companions at the Wall. Previous decisions were robbed of consequence because of how easily I was able to talk my way back into the good graces of whichever character I'd wronged.
We're brothers now.
But there are still a few good twists in the story here. The mystery of the North Grove starts to take shape, and Garrett finally gains a purpose in this story. He also gets a chance at revenge, which is rare for a Game of Thrones character, but I like how it's hinted that that'll have major consequences. Back at Ironrath, the arrival of Lord Whitehill's even more antagonistic son Griff seems redundant. The Forresters have already been tormented by Ramsay Bolton, Lord Whitehill himself, and the nameless Whitehill soldiers, and the interaction between Griff and Roderick is a retread of the ring-kissing scene in episode 2. However, sacrificing Forrester pride for the greater good is no easier to do the second time.
Roderick the Ruined.
A revelation from a new source ups the potential for intrigue in Ironrath, but actually investigating it has to wait until next time. In King's Landing, Mira's story gets even more tense and interesting. She's now involved in a cover-up of her own, and there are tensions between Tyrion Lannister and Margaery Tyrell that weren't present in the show for us to avoid becoming entangled in. Even though it might not be a desirable outcome, it's empowering to see that the decisions you've made about whether to get involved with Tyrion have big ramifications for your relationship with Margaery, especially during the events of Joffrey and Margaery's wedding. Mira's mission to get help for the Forresters back home turns into a struggle just to minimize the damage. So events are finally moving forward. Garrett's story is now almost as complex and full of potential as Mira's, and Asher's left off in a very interesting place. If Roderick can break Ironrath out of its repetitive loop, Telltale's Game of Thrones will be firing on all cylinders in the second half of this 6-episode season. For more on Game of Thrones, stick with IGN.